If we say life is a game, there will inevitably be a winning team and a losing team. Those on the losing team would mostly be feeling like life is such a drag. And because they've been too accustomed to losing, they feel like doing something about it would be pointless. These are the people that never truly lived. They are just alive until they die. That's why in today's video, we'll be showing you the reasons why one individual ends up losing the game of life, so you can learn how to avoid making the same mistakes. We're not going to hold back, so stick around until the end. Welcome to Thrivetastic. If you're new here, why not hit that subscribe button and join our community? And as always guys, give this video a thumbs up for that YouTube algorithm. 40% of people are completely dissatisfied with their lives. And up to 70% believe they are trapped in a cycle and that their lives are not improving. And according to the most recent data from the General Social Survey, one of the nation's longest running and most highly regarded public opinion research projects, life in America and the West in general is becoming increasingly miserable. But this video isn't about happiness. It's about what it means to live a life worth living. You may not realize it, but there is a segment of the population that is completely losing at life. But how does one define losing in life? And what are the indicators that you should be aware of? Well, if winning means obtaining what you desire in life, losing means the opposite. These are the people who are unhappy with their choices, those who regret their actions and cannot foresee tomorrow as being any better than today. One of the primary reasons people end up in these situations is that they willingly give up the long term for the short term. These people are constantly caught up in the moment. Those you call YOLO people, who believe that the present is the only beast that needs to be fed. They indulge in this philosophy too much that their tomorrow becomes much worse than today. Instead of looking forward to long-term happiness, they care greatly about their present happiness and live in the moment. Although it may not appear to be dangerous at first, the cost of sacrificing the future is always greater than the cost of sacrificing the present. Please keep in mind that as you progress down the spectrum, the sacrifice will become tremendously more valuable. People who suffer addiction seek temporary happiness while ignoring the long-term harm they will cause to themselves or to those they care about. That's when addiction takes your life away from you, one piece at a time. Losing control over your obsession is one of the quickest ways to ruin your life. While this might sound like common sense, data shows otherwise. A palliative care nurse asked each of her dying patients what their biggest regret in life were. And guess which one was at the top of their list? More sex? Nah. More money? No. Instead, I wish I have the courage to live a life true to myself rather than the life that others expected of me. That's what dying people regret the most. And the most surprising part is that it was common among them. Building a life based on other people's expectations at the expense of your own is a certain way to wind up regretting it and losing at the game of life. Your genuine identity is stolen from you as you strive to fit into someone else's shoes. Yet you do it and stick to it out of fear. You hate all of it. You despise life and it doesn't feel right, but what are you doing? Nothing. Thus, your life is no longer yours. The controller to the game you call life is in their hands. And despite their good intentions, they have little to no skin in this game. The most important decision you have to make in life is where you live. It determines who you will hang out with, who you will probably marry, your finances, and even your ideology. Now, imagine that someone has chained you and placed you in a physical cage. That someone may even be yourself, and that you are a bird in a cage living the life it should. Well, it's kept alive and protected, but is it alive? Is it soaring through the skies and discovering the world? Living out its purpose in the way that nature intended? No, we do the same thing to ourselves. We build cages because we are terrified of what is beyond those cage walls, not realizing that we have imprisoned ourselves in the process. Fear is dangerous. Your decision not to move takes your life away. It might not be so horrible for everyone because we all know individuals who have decent lives in their birthplace. But they'll never know the thrill and growth that comes with taking charge of your life and realizing how much you can flourish when you're not held back. This leads to a series of limiting choices, each one following suit like domino pieces. You will lose in life if you choose the wrong partner. This can be your friend, partner, and the person with whom you will build a family with. Screw this up and you're doomed to a life of misery or an impending divorce. The boomer generation is in the midst of divorce season. But many parts of the world are far more religious or do not have the same amount of freedom of access to proper legal representation. So they remain in dissatisfying marriages where the partners simply make each other miserable. The next step of misery is having children with someone you don't like. This can happen by accident if you're young or uneducated, or you can try to repair a failing marriage by bringing a child into the mix. Both are horrible. You'd think individuals would choose their life partners more carefully, but that's not the case. And the truth is that most people settle for what's convenient rather than what's good, since convenience is easy, right? However, convenience is a trap. You worry about things you can't control, which causes anxiety. Yet you get paralyzed when it's time to take the action you know will improve your life. So you lean towards what is safe and convenient. It's simpler to consume a bag of chips than to make yourself a salad. It's easier to continue with a horrible job rather than quit because the suffering is familiar. And that is how people lose their soul. You have already lost when you continue to work on a job that you despise. A job that isn't fulfilling and barely pays enough to cover your bills. At the beginning of 2022, 64% of the US population, or 2 out of every 3 people, were living paycheck to paycheck. How are they expected to discover who they are and what their passions are if they can never escape the financial cage in which they find themselves in? We agree that the current systems do not promote a great life for everyone. Yet you would expect the ratio to be reversed. You lose at life if you do not solve money. Worrying about money is by far one of the most significant impediments to human existence. Money is such an important aspect of survival that some people imprison themselves legally through debt to these companies that turn their life into money. One of life's most important cheat codes is to solve the money game. You may not realize it, but the majority of people live a life of consumption rather than creation. They are simply consuming, thus they need to earn more money to consume more, thereby trapping themselves. Here's the absolute truth of the game of life. You will lose at life if you never get at least a 5 out of 10 in all 5 pillars of existence: financial, relationships, intellect, health, and emotions. These 5 are interconnected. If you ignore any one of these 5, your life will come crashing down around you. It doesn't matter whether you're a millionaire, if you have health problems and can't enjoy your money, how smart you are if you're starving in a cave, how beautiful you are if you can't have a productive relationship, and so on. Those who lose at life's game never have anything truly valuable. This includes everything from monetary value to emotional and spiritual worth. The more you earn for yourself, the more freedom you will have. How can you be free if you keep your emotions and sentiments bottled up? How can you feel free if you're living a dishonest life? You see, guys, every falsehood we utter incurs a debt to the truth, which must be returned sooner or later. Every emotion you've bottled up will eventually leak out and spill over into other areas of your life. Some of you are well aware of how true that is. Life is a feast of adventures, sights, tastes, and people. Act as though it is. You lose at life if you do not fulfill your bucket list. Deep down, everyone has a bucket list. Poor is the person who never travels the world, never meets people with similar interests, and spends their entire existence secluded away from the rest of the world. You lose in life if every day is the same, and if every day looks the same as every other day. You're not living numerous days. You're living the same day over and over again until you die. You lose at life if you end up living a life of regret. For all we know, this is your only chance to experience all the world's blessing. Therefore, reach for that apple tree and take your apple. You lose in life if you never reach the point where you can be proud of your body and feel healthy. Socrates realized this 2,500 years ago when he stated, "It is a tragedy for a man to grow old without seeing the beauty and strength that his body is capable of." You lose at life if you never take any risk. You only play it safe. Playing it safe is only a slower path to suffering. And while you may survive an unhappy marriage, you will feel it in your gut for the rest of your life if you ruin your relationship with your children. And pride is usually what keeps the flame of despair alive. But you already know that pride is the devil. But there's an even more heinous way to treat your children. Deprive them of their existence. For your benefit, some parents will sacrifice their children's lives to retain a level of emotional comfort for themselves. These people have it twisted. We're aware of how this is going to sound, but pay attention, because it's true. You could lose in life if you give up your life to care for your parents full time. They require care and protection, but not at the expense of your entire life. A parent's goal is to raise strong children who can live on their own. If you have a parasitic relationship, you fail both as a parent and as a child. These are all pieces of the puzzle, and it's not too late to recognize them. You're probably lucky because only a few of these relate to you. But we're certain that at least some of them hit a little too close to home. Before you leave, we'd like to ask you a brutally honest question. On a scale of 1 to 10, how great are you doing in life? 1 is a total failure, and 10 is an incredible victory. Please let us know your answers in the comment section down below. We used to measure everything in our lives to improve it. But that's where it becomes tricky. The most important part is what you measure. Here is one criterion that will guide you for the rest of your life. Measure life based on how many lives you have improved. As we grow and mature, we realize that the only way to truly win the game of life is to maximize the positive impact we have on the lives of others. That's right. However, it starts with yourself. If you can't even take care of yourself, you can't take care of anyone else. But it's not enough to be content on your own. We've said it before, and we'll say it again. If you're lonely when you've reached the peak, it's because you didn't bring enough people with you. If you can get out of the hole, we genuinely believe it's your duty to help others do the same. Show them the way, tell them the truth, and distinguish those who truly want it from those who merely wish for it. You won't be able to help everyone, but those with ears to listen will accept what you truly say and do what they see you do. Thank you for watching this Thrivetastic video. So if you found it valuable, consider subscribing to our channel and joining our awesome community. And if you're still hungry for more, we handpicked this awesome Thrivetastic video for you to watch next.